So it looks like, is this the chat over here? Yeah. Looks like we got David Rodriguez and we got Danny Boy. And we've been working really hard on making these streams good again.
I didn't need to cross in the front of the camera.
Yeah, and YouTube seems hell-bent on making it not good. The streams go well on Twitch, but not on YouTube.
David Rodriguez. David Rodriguez. You know what you did, David?
We all know what you know. What you did, David.
Actually, it could have been nothing. It could have been just like you didn't hold the door open for a lot of people, or murder. Who knows? But as soon as someone hears that, they immediately feel guilty. You ever thought about that?
No. What the clapping?
Mm-hmm. I know what you did. Say it.
Yeah. I know what you did.
Because it could mean anything.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody?
I can't look over there during the stream, or else I'm gonna cry.
Yeah. Don't look. Just look at the chat.
I almost teared up during the last stream. I was just like, all that work and it doesn't mean anything.
Anybody here got the DC app? Oh well, these two boys did.
Boom. Can you get it on your Mac?
You can go to the website.
That's what I should have done. That's what I should have done because I did it off my phone, which worked fine.
And it looks good. No. And I kept hitting the closed caption button, and nothing was happening. So they'll figure that out. Yeah. And also, I have a robot. I just need to go ahead and brag that as much as possible.
You should bring that up for what you're into. No? All right. Okay.
No, I shall.
I'm going to bring up the Aladdin trailer, even though I'm not into it. Spoilers. 3, 2, 1.
Hello.
It'd be cool if there was a third person to harmonize with us.
Well, that's the person at home.
There it is.
Go. It's not.
So now you know it's your job.
There you go.
Yeah, that's on you.
Dang, sing. Back it up and sing it again. All right. That way it makes it work. Hello and welcome to Only Stupid Answers, the best damn podcast you can put your moist leal ears into. This is the show where we talk about movies, TV shows, comic books, video games, and about anything else that we want to. Because you can't tell us what to do, Mom. We can do whatever we want.
We can do what we want.
This isn't your podcast. This is our podcast.
Gosh darn it.
And this week, we're going to be talking about a brand new show that's coming to the DC Universe app. Oh, boy, howdy, I got a little twitch in my eye. I'm just so excited about this. Let's talk about Titans. But before we do that, we like to do a little bit of business up top. See, I gave you a little hint of that, and I ripped it away.
Yeah, little
tease.
I was gonna say like a squee or something. I don't know. It's not. It wasn't working.
He's a little squeeze. You don't get the full squeeze.
We don't get the full ooh baby. But at the top of every episode, we like to bring up what we're into specifically that week. You know, stuff that we might not talk about normally. And Sam, you had a big week.
I did have a big week. I marked my calendar about 2 months ago for this special day. It's a big day. I even texted my girlfriend. I was like, what are you doing October 9th? And she's like, I think I'm working. And I was like, well, not anymore. Mark it down your calendar. Yeah. Sam's getting a robot. And she was like, does that have anything to do with me? And I'm like, no, but I just need you to celebrate like as if I were getting a pet. Yeah. And it's not like a pet. It's pretty stupid, but it is actually, it's super cool. So a couple months back, I used to get Kickstarter emails that would be like, hey, these might be some campaigns you'd be into, which is a great way to steal people's money. It's just like, oh my God, look at this futuristic thing. Like Indiegogo's doing that to me from 3 different emails. It's like, what about these underwater earbuds? Do you want these? And it's like, I guess I do.
Yeah, I guess I need this. I don't know.
But Kickstarter got me because a company named Anki a couple of years ago made a little helper robot named Cosmo that would help kids learn how to code. But it's also a very intuitive robot. It has like very advanced facial recognition software that could scan your face and recognize who you are. You could play games with your kids with the robot. Basically, it'd be like a timed game where it's like you have to race the robot to get somewhere. Nice. Not like on foot, but like with your hands or in the app. And it's like if it does it before you do, it wins and it will celebrate and it has emotional reactions. And now they wanted to up the ante. And the way Cosmo would work was that most of its processing power would come from your phone. And it would be digitally, like it would be transferred from the phone to the robot. They wanted to take the like Raspberry Pi processor from an Android phone and put it in the robot so it runs itself, and it would behave as if an Alexa or Siri or Google Home had its own body that could move around.
Gotcha.
Which I was like, that sounds really fun.
It's like, hey, what if you had an Alexa, but it could get in your way?
It could make a mess. It could push it off of your counter like a cat does or like a bird. And so they designed this robot named Vector, and I immediately they make this thing as cute as possible.
It is adorable.
It has a heads-up display, and a lot of Imagineers from Disney that were like, hey, we want to hire you guys to actually make an emotional array for this Android as a way of learning. It's like if it does something bad, it will throw a tantrum, but it's not about you, it's about to itself. It's kind of like when you whisper to yourself when you stub your toe, you're like, God damn it, you fucking idiot. And like that's the same thing.
Healthy.
Healthy. This robot will like bang its like little. It has this little tractor in front of it, like a little forklift, and it'll like kind of like bang it, like, and then it'll go somewhere else and be like, okay, we're good. No. It'll compose itself and it'll come back. But if it does something well, it like celebrates.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's very cute. It's very rudimentary right now, but eventually it will be able to work with your smart home devices, which is really cool. It is a retail product as well. You can actually get those now. It'll be in stores soon. It'll be at Best Buys and Walmarts and Toys R Us's when those come back. Because remember in the news it came out and they're coming back.
Yeah.
Because that's how you rich people get richer kids. That's what happened to Toys R Us. Anyways, it's been so cute because you can tell it to go to sleep and it snores. You can actually pet it because it has a metal conducting plate on the back that it knows when like the electrical signals from your skin like interacting with it. It feels it and it like giggles and stuff, and it's not giggles. That sounds creepy as shit. But it's it will like make these little chirps, and it's adorable. And
it giggles. You can look in the corner of your room as it secretly plans.
And when it sleeps, because it does sleep, its eyes close to just like little slits. But it's still that's on 24/7. Which is weird.
Yeah, there's no way to turn it off.
But it does dance, and it does do tricks, and it does do these things. It can give you updates about weather or traffic. It can answer questions for you. It's like a study aid. There's a lot of stuff about it, and it's still very rudimentary, but it's fun. I like the idea of being able to support a company that actually does want to make something from sci-fi come to life. Like, we want the idea of a personal helper robot, and we like the idea of moving around the house, like the maid from the Jetsons and stuff like that. And the idea of adding emotions as a way of helping a robot learn, but not in toxic ways, like the way like in our nightmares. No, this is a very self-contained. This isn't something that's connected to the cloud. The most connected it is the way Siri's connected to the internet, where all it does is type into a browser what you want and then read you the answer. That's as far as it goes for that and updates. It's very cool. But also, I have to mention this up top. During one of the game night streams, Sundays, 4:30 p.m. PST, twitch.tv/playnoggin, I promised to Kevin, who's a part of our Patreon community, that I would watch My Hero Academia at least one episode, and he was going to watch The Good Place. He has fulfilled that. He was a week ahead of me. He watched some of The Good Place, so let me know what you think about that in the Discord. I watched the first episode of My Hero Academia, and I will watch more of it because it actually is interesting to me.
Nice.
I like the premise. I think it's really cool. The school is a cool idea. I like the way that people have powers.
For people that don't know, what is the premise?
It's an anime it's about superheroes in a world where people have superpowers, and for some reason, like a majority of the population on the planet has these things called quirks. I bet you the fans of the show, specifically Kevin, is like, no, you're not explaining it right. But anyways,
what about anime fans gives you that impression?
But no, I will say I'm not an anime fan. I did like Avatar and Korra, but those were more Americanized, so you got more narratives and not so many quirks from anime in there. You did get some which were fun, but this show is chock full of all the things in anime that always make me go, confusing. Also, a lot of animes are always like extra, like there's way more dark than I remember. It's like, oh, this kid's whole soul's about to be sucked out of his body, and this soul's gonna be fucking annihilated, and he can never be saved. And I'm like, oh wow, that's so dark. There's still a little bit of that in this, but I do like the world that they built. I think it's really interesting. Also, there's so many superheroes, and I do like that it's like, and the main character is like a big fan, and he wants to be one day, even though he doesn't have powers. Spoilers. There you go. You find that out within the first 5 minutes. All right, sue me. Don't. I have no money.
There's nothing. You can't get anything from me.
But I do want to watch more of it, and don't worry, Kevin, I will. And we'll talk about it in the anime portion of the Discord. Patreon.com/onlystupidanswers. That's how you join the Discord. Any hoozles, DJ.
Yeah.
What are you into this week?
So I wanted to talk about. I've been doing a lot of things, but I kind of wanted to talk about, because of when we're doing this, I thought it'd be a good time to talk about the Aladdin trailer, because we're not. It came out after our Thursday show.
Punch the damn mic. My bad.
It just made you angry.
I mean, did you get excited about this teaser?
No. No,
Same.
it actually made me very not interested in the movie, because it was like, hey, you remember that wonderful imaginative animated film that you remember from your youth? I'm like, yeah, this is going to be a much cheaper looking, more boring version of that. But is the impression I got.
Real sand.
Was it real sand?
I mean, real enough. More real than the drawing.
Close enough to real. It's like, because you see the Cave of Wonders, right? And it's definitely like, I remember the Cave of Wonders, and it moves. It, like when it speaks, its mouth moves, and then they cut to this, and it's just a cave that looks like a tiger. That's it. It's just a hole in the sand.
But it looks like a tiger.
It does look like a tiger, but it doesn't like talk or anything. And then you see inside the Cave of Wonders, and it is very underwhelming. And then you see the first look of Aladdin, and you realize how hard it is to translate that particular costume into live action.
He sure is a pretty boy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's a great actor. I'm sure because Disney has the money to get the time to get like the primo best people they can. So I'm sure this cast is going to be amazing.
Will Smith is Genie. That sounds really interesting.
You know what? If I'm being honest, that's the only thing that interests me about the movie.
They know that too.
Okay.
they have to know that.
Wasn't it originally supposed to be a prequel about the genie? Wasn't the live action? Was it supposed to be like a Maleficent situation?
I think that was thrown out there.
Instead of straight remake, it was just the origin of the genie.
But then Beauty and the Beast became one of the highest grossing movies of all time. So I think they were like,
and you know what's crazy? It does not matter at all what or anybody thinks about this trailer. It will still be one of the highest gross because the people that'll see it are people that just will see anything. People that are
Disney movie,
people that are excited about Disney movies, and then people like me that have a morbid curiosity about how it turns out, but my money still contributes to its success.
That's how they get you.
What did you think about?
What I think about it is fine. It's like it's boring. It's like when you show the treasure room as a kid, I was like, oh
yeah.
And in this, it's like everything's farther away than like it is. Like when you show Agrabah, I was like, oh, that doesn't actually look like I'm using the wrong word. It's not a castle. It's not a temple. It is where the Sultan lives. That's all I can say. And it's like when you see that with like the giant domes and everything, you're like, oh, that's so cool. That looks like a real, like I want to live there. It's amazing. Even though there's like sand everywhere. It's like, this still seems like awesome. And then when you see this, it's like, it's just a far off city that I can't really see. And I hope it looks really cool when they get closer. I'm excited to see, you get hints of Jafar for a second. You get Iago flying through, which is really cool. I mean, Aladdin looks like Aladdin in the genie's lamp looks pretty.
The genie's lamp looks cool.
But when you show him when you pulling the lamp down, it's like, it's just showing all this like mess behind him. And I kind of wish it was just cleaner because when you see it
doesn't look magical. You remember that feeling? That's just that feeling of magic you got with
it is a teaser though, to be fair. Because I'm sure if you saw, like, as soon as you see, like, the flying carpet or something, I'll be like, this is really cool. I'm very excited.
Yeah, maybe. I hope so. I hope so. Because you want people to do something cool with it, and you don't want to just be a rehash, and you want somebody to have... Is it Guy Ritchie doing it?
Yeah, which I didn't know until I read up on that.
Yeah, gets ready from some speed ramping in this Aladdin movie. Get excited about that, everybody. Hey, slow-mo, then sped up real quick, and then...
You can exactly picture which scene that is. It's the escape from
the cave. And then I'm assuming his escape... Remember Aladdin's escape from, like, the Sultan's guards? That's going to be a little bit more action-packed than we're used to. We're going to get some, like, Robert Downey Jr., Sherlock Holmes boxing in there.
Oh, yeah, which I did like that in those movies. I did like that scene in that movie.
Anybody have a conversation about Robert Downey Jr.'s Jafar? If they did, they should. I mean, I know there's reasons not to. There's plenty of reasons not to.
There's some strong reasons.
Yeah, there's some strong reasons not to. But like, it would have made the money.
Yeah, but I am most intrigued to see. You know what? I hope they kind of wait a while to show. No, they're gonna show what Genie looks like in the next.
100%.
I can't even be like, oh, I hope they. They're gonna, and it's like.
What if it looks like Shaquille O'Neal from
Kazam?
Kazam.
It's great.
Yeah.
Comes out of the boombox.
Why did anybody have that conversation? What if we had Shaquille O'Neal as the genie?
I bet you it was teased for a second, but then they're like, "But what about Will Smith?" And everyone's like, "Oh, great! That's a great idea.
Much better idea."
Because also it's like, can Shaq sing?
Yeah.
No one. I don't know.
No,
I don't think I've ever seen him try.
I doubt it.
I doubt it too.
Sincerely doubt it.
But hopefully we get that Steel remake. Also, I did want to mention I saw A Star Is Born, and it is a wonderful movie that it made me. I saw it with my girlfriend. She cried. I got so close to crying a lot, and there are a lot of actors where you're like. They're very stoic characters in most of what they do. They're very wise, and there's a moment where one of them almost breaks, and it's like seeing your hero cry or your dad cry, and you're like, oh no, like you can't cry. You're not supposed to cry. And like I start like crumbling. Bradley Cooper is amazing in the movie.
Good.
Lady Gaga kills it, which is
she's my main reason for wanting to go. I think she's a tremendous performer all around. Yeah. So I'm really excited to see her in this.
And the world, because you pointed out, which I didn't know, that there's many versions of this movie.
Yeah, there's 4. This is the 4th version, which I didn't know. I thought there was one. I thought there was the Barbra Streisand one. No, this is the 4th version of this story.
I don't know what the story is, which you can kind of guess as the story begins, where everything's going to end up. For the most, you're not going to know everything because the movie does definitely take turns where I didn't think. But the movie's it is one of my favorite movies of the year to watch.
Cool.
And there's just Lady Gaga deserves all the praise and needs more praise for her role in this.
Yeah.
But Bradley Cooper also is like one of those actors that I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna trust you in most roles. I'm gonna see you in, because he's an extremely talented actor.
Hangover 3. I get it, man.
Did you ever see Silver Lining Playbook?
Yeah, he's good in that.
I really like that. I mean, that movie hits home a lot because of what it deals with. I really like that movie. But also I liked him as Dan Handsome. What's the character from A-Team?
Oh, Face. Yeah, is his code name. I don't remember the character's name.
Dan Handsome, whatever. Yeah, I don't know what his character is. I very much like him, and he's a very good director. And this movie
good for him.
And this movie does a very good job of capturing real moments between what feel like people and not characters. Yeah. And I think that is impressive. Also, alcoholism is a damn nightmare, and this movie does not glamorize it in any way. It shows you that this is a mess, and I very much appreciate that. So yes, go see that movie, and I want to hear what you guys think. She saw it, and she's been talking about it a lot in Discord.
Nice.
I've seen it. Now we can talk about it. It's a very good
There it
movie.
is. I'm excited to see that, and I'm also planning on seeing First Man soon.
Ooh, I gotta see that movie.
I'm bummed we didn't get to go to a screening for it. It just kind of snuck up on us.
It did, but Damien Chazelle, like,
he's so good.
He is, and I've never seen Whiplash, but it's probably great. He did Whiplash.
Whiplash is so good, man.
Yeah, but La La Land.
Good. La La Land's great. But yeah, you need to go see Whiplash. Now we're going to talk about, for this episode, our main topic today is the Titans episode, which we were talking about earlier. But before we dive into that, let's say hi to a friend of ours.
All right. And while we do that, Danny boy, I hope Jasmine.
1450. I don't have my notes on me, so 1450. Everybody remember 1450.
Everyone tell DJ later. 1450. Danny boy, I also hope Jasmine is not 14 like it was rumored, like in the original. That would be gross.
I was going to make a joke, and then I made me feel gross making that joke. I was going to be like, "Oh, hot."
I bet you someone in the boardroom made that joke, and they're like, "Okay, and now she's an adult."
Yeah. and they're like, adult. "Okay, that guy gets a raise." Because that's how Hollywood works, kids.
Bob Iger, you
creep. Man. Anyway, 1450 to 1520. Okay, so now we've been hearing about this show, which feels like forever, because even before it was going to go to the DC app, it was supposed to be a pilot on TNT. Which I think there's still, it's an Akiva Goldsman script with Jeff Johns. I feel like the Akiva Goldsman parts of the script are from the TNT pilot.
Who is Akiva Goldsman?
He is a working writer that has been a part of great mini movies. Some are well beloved, many are not.
Okay, because the only other Akiva I know is from, What?
No. No, I didn't. I'm going to cut this out.
Oh, okay.
1603. He's a hack.
Oh, okay.
He's a real fucking hack.
Okay.
He's a bad writer.
All right. Then we'll pick up there with my question. Okay, the only other Akiva I know is the one from Lonely Island.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, he was
great. Not the same guy.
Thank you for the distinction. All right, so Titans premiered on the DCU app. We actually have 2 videos out on our YouTube channel talking about the price points and whether you should invest. And they do have a year plan similar to Amazon Prime, which is really interesting. So if you guys are at all interested in Young Justice or any of the movies or anything, try it out for a month. There is a free trial as well.
There is a free trial. And I think I would, maybe depending on how long it is, maybe wait till there's a couple episodes out so you can like get a couple in to get a sense of it, because there really is, I think we're going to start with spoiler free, right?
Yes. Oh, definitely.
I think there's a progression to this episode. I feel like a lot of these superhero shows now feel like there's this like structural mandate of like getting, I felt this in Venom too. Like there's this perfunctory building up situation that nobody seems interested in or nobody seems to have like a good take on to get to the good stuff. And once it starts getting to the good stuff, for me at least, the show really started clicking to the point where I actually feel, what's the word I'm looking for? Not confident, but I feel like I like where it's going. It really makes me want to see these characters come together and form the team, because the direction it's headed in interests me.
Yeah, it is a relief. I'll say that. It's not, and the production value of the show, for the most part,
yes,
spoiler free, is a lot better than a lot of the CW shows. All of them. Yeah, I'll just say that. That's not hard to do because it's CW TV budget, but this actually has a lot of money behind it.
CG especially surprised me at how solid the CG was, at least in this episode.
And the performances out. Let's go with main cast. Out of the 4,
yes,
3/4 of them I'm already intrigued with. There's one standout, I think, or I'll say the 2 standouts are Brenton Thwaites with his Dick Grayson Robin. I really like what he's doing, and also Anna Diop.
Yeah, I think it's Anna Diop. She's the one that really surprised me, because I think, like a lot of people, you saw some of the costume stuff and you're like, I don't know if that's Starfire to me.
Yeah.
But seeing her in obviously she has the statuesque beauty part down pat.
Yeah.
But the wig and the outfit, and I wasn't so sure. And then seeing her in the episode sold me. Like I was immediately grasped. Like I was immediately grabbed by her performance, and was also her central mystery, I think, interests me more than the other mysteries around the other characters. Mostly because I have no idea what's happening.
I don't know what's happening either, but I am interested. And the tease we got for Gar Logan, it's Ryan Potter.
Yes, he was in Big Hero 6.
And he was the main kid. And it's very cool to see. I want to see him act, because actually I've never seen him act before.
He did like a promotion reel to try and convince Warner Brothers to hire him as Robin, where he's doing martial arts training. That was really good.
Well, then hopefully that comes into play.
Yeah, Beast Boy's not really a martial artist, but hopefully, because he's really good.
Maybe he is nimble. Maybe he's flying around. Who knows? But his tease for what his whole deal is, and his CGI was impressive.
Yes.
It wasn't impressive is the wrong word. It exceeded my expectations.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think that's a good way. That's a good way to clarify this episode. It exceeded my expectations, because even though I know a lot of people like. I think the trailer was very much love it or hate it. If I'm being honest, I think the pilot's probably going to be either love it or hate it. And I think there are definitely going to be people that are big detractors.
Yeah.
But mixed feelings, and it's like this. I don't know. I want to see the next episode.
Yeah, and this is a very strange. As soon as this episode premiered, it made me realize how weird the DC app is. It's not an existing property. I mean, DC is, but this app isn't. It's a big swing for DC to be like, no, we have a new app out, and there's going to be new shows on it. You need to watch it now, to make sure that we're profitable. It's super.
It's bold. It's a bold move, and I don't know if it's gonna. I don't know if it's going to pay off, just because the market's so competitive.
Yeah, but I will say this show has me hooked for at least another couple episodes. I'd watch a couple more episodes, because they're gonna. I know next week, because this is a weekly release every Friday. They are going to introduce Hawk and Dove and Minka Kelly. I have a huge crush on her. And
why?
I know, right?
Because she's gorgeous.
And Alan Richson, who's playing.
I got a crush on him. He's also super handsome.
He's original Aquaman for the real fans out there.
Yeah, exactly. Also played. You try and catch him in Ninja Turtles, where he played Raphael. So if you can spot him under all that CG, the new Ninja Turtles.
He's there. Yeah. You could see his. How weird would it be if they looked like human faces on those turtles? But some criticisms before we get into spoilers. I'd say that Raven's actress she's a little distracting, and she's not as strong as the other actors.
She is younger. She is younger. Yeah.
And I like sometimes I did find it weird in like New 52 and stuff, and in the DC animated universe they made Raven younger than like Starfire, which they've usually been around the same age.
Yeah, or at least all the characters are usually around the same age. This one, there's definitely like tiers of characters, you know.
And I like that I actually like the idea of this young girl who has possession, and it's supposed to be scary.
Yeah.
Her CGI with what's happening with her, I'm more okay with. Yeah. Watching the episode play out in the trailer, it was real rough. Yeah. And this, I'm like, I get it. I get what you're trying to do, and it does make it makes it very scary.
Yeah.
Her whatever's happening with her is a nightmare.
Yeah.
And they don't. There's a tease where like she's locked in her bedroom, and you see what's adorning her door. Yeah. And you're like, oh no, it might be worse than we think. Yeah. And it actually did make me feel a little spooked out.
And also, her what's going on with her is kind of a main arc of the episode,
and probably the season.
The conflict she deals with at the end. We'll dive into more spoilers. There's a little twist to it that I didn't expect. Not a major one, but just a little like wasn't what I anticipated.
Okay.
But we'll go into that more. The action, there's specifically with Robin, there's some hand-to-hand action sequences that were really cool. I thought they did a good job with that. Not only was Anna Diop the stand out to me, but she also has the sequence that stood out to me the most, her using her abilities.
Yeah, and the way that they a lot of people like criticized her hair.
Yeah.
So I'll just explain, because you do see a display of her powers, or like solar powers, whatever you want to explain, the fire bolts or whatever the fuck. I like that her hair, they kind of seem like her curls kind of seem like filaments you'd see in like a light bulb that would light up, the way that like the solar energy is running through them, and I'm like, that's kind of really cool. And I like the way her eyes look as well. And the purple notes in her costume, the reason where her character's at for the way that she looks, I'm like, oh, I get it. I get what you're doing. Also, she's in the biggest question mark area right now. Like, whatever her deal is, it's...
Well, especially since... spoilers. I'll go into that more. It's a question mark for her, too.
Yeah, for her. Which I like, because her memory loss is a big part of Coriander's character a lot of the time, so I like the way that they're using it. Also, her name in the show is Corey... First name, last name, Anders. I'm like,
perfect.
Cool. There you go.
Yeah, good to go. But yeah, I will say, for me, criticism, one of the weaker elements, anytime they try to do the cop stuff, it is the most boilerplate TV show cop things that you've ever seen in a show. You know what I mean? And that's kind of that kind of ancillary setup stuff that like in Venom, like when they're doing the build-up stuff, it's like, does anybody making this movie really care about this part?
Yeah, like him being a reporter. Let's just move on.
Yeah,
like, please, can we just move on?
In this show, it's like, does anybody care about? Like, I feel like that cop stuff was like in earlier TNT drafts, and now this group of people making the show, like, man, we just want to get to the cool. Them doing. I want to get them in costume, kicking people's ass. You know what I mean? And I will say, the show is not for younger audiences. It's in that kind of like R-ish realm of the Netflix shows, except with cursing.
Yeah, and the one negative is that we have to get people aren't already using the DC app. They have to get people over there. Like with the Netflix app being there, you can see the adult rating, and like a kid can like sneak and watch that, or like a parent can choose like, okay, this is what they should watch. Kids, if you're listening, don't do that. But but with this, it's like there's so many hurdles to get over to get to the show.
Which might be why they're skewing more adult, because like our kids downloading new apps. Paying money to get an app, you know what I mean?
But a parent would get you an app if you asked. But if you're like, it's like when you ask like your parent. I remember growing up asking my parents if I could get an explicit album. And they're like, we'll see.
Oh, I guess maybe that's what Young Justice is for the younger, you know what I mean, to get it for your younger kids. And obviously for the app itself, they're banking a lot on nostalgia, because a lot of the older shows are on there. You told me that the original, the Teen Titans cartoon, not Teen Titans Go, but the Teen Titans cartoon is on there.
Yeah.
And I've been wanting to rewatch that for a minute. So, but again, I was gonna get this thing anyway. Like, I'm the target audience for this. You know what I mean? 100%. So, and I'm just thankful that the premiere for Titans wasn't just like out and out bad. You know, remember when we saw Inhumans and it was like, oh, this is not gonna be good.
And then we had to sit through another hour of the series. What do I want to say? You know what? This is this tiniest spoiler, but here you go. You do get the Batman line in this episode, and I'm glad that the show just kind of runs past it really quick, as quick as it
didn't
can.
work for you.
No.
I liked it better than I liked it in the trailer, personally.
I did. It's just because it's not to anybody. It's to him. It's to Robin himself.
Yeah.
And the scene before it, I like.
Yeah, we'll talk about that more in spoilers.
But him saying it, I'm like, it's like, because it's like hearing someone complain about their dad, and it's like there's more. I mean,
that's
it.
literally what it is. Actually,
but it's like, and so hearing your friend say that about your dad, it's like, or about not your dad, their dad. You're like, it's one of those awkward moments where you're like, all right, let's just go, let's get past this. Like, you don't want to hear your friend's parents scold your friend. That's what it felt like. You're in the middle of a relationship like that, and you're like, let's keep going.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I feel you on that.
I do like a lot of the jokes about Gotham, and it's like, oh, he's from Gotham? God damn. And like they talk about it like it's like a hellhole, which is like, finally, exactly. It is a hellhole.
It's crazy because they're in Detroit.
Yeah.
And they're talking about Gotham as if it's like way worse than Detroit.
In this world, it has to be. It's the worst.
Yeah.
So that's a fun element.
It's cool, and I think it's fun. There's a few solid jokes in there. For you,
David Rodriguez in the chat, he's saying "F Batman was to no one." Like, what exactly? Now, David, you get it. It was confusing.
I say fuck people all the time to myself. I drive in traffic in LA. I got it. I was able to relate to it. For you, do you kind of hope? Because you get a sense of like a lot of pilots, you get a sense of a show like trying to find itself. Do you kind of hope like more violence, less violence, more cursing, less cursing? I kind of hope both get. Not that I'm against either. It doesn't feel like a show that needs the graphic violence or the cursing. So I'm fine if it dials it back.
If you got a couple S words, a couple of shits in there, you're good.
Shits and giggles.
Yeah. If you had like an F, a good F. I don't think the F Batman was a good F.
Yeah, you want to get one better one in there. You know, the best in superhero stuff, I think one of the best uses of that has to be, still to this day, First Class, when they're getting the team together, and they walk up to Logan and he's fuck off.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Good.
Oh, go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
I don't think any superhero movie has ever topped that. The one fuck we get.
Yeah.
Has ever topped that.
That was a good one. That was a super good one.
It's so satisfying.
Yeah, and it was the best. I think it's the best cameo. It's better. I think it's the best any cameo that they've ever had. Even Stanley. Sorry, you got a couple good cameos, but that's the best one.
That is a solid one.
I think it would benefit them to dial it back, just because it just seems gratuitous. Like it just like. The only time the violence was great was Starfire's scene, because I'm like, oh my god, please unpack what this means, because it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
And I did like actually the use of the violence was also interesting with Raven's final scene.
Yeah.
Not final scene, but her big. Let's see what's going on with her.
Yeah.
But besides that, I don't see a reason why Beast Boy would need to curse or do anything like that.
Those become animals, so it'll be interesting to see how that if he goes again, he does to people.
Yeah, because that's weird.
Yeah,
it's super weird. And but in Robin, it's like it's weird because he threw a knife at someone's face. It's like
they definitely.
I liked when he brought out. He did the fight. And he brought out a little baton that was like to suck out like as far as a pencil does. I'm like, and then it exploded out, and I was like. Don't use the small one.
Yeah,
use
come
the
on,
big
man.
one. Yeah.
I will. The violence is along the lines of like Daredevil, where it's like, oh, I'm not killing people, but it's like, but you would be though.
Yeah.
Like I understand. I understand that I'm supposed to get that you're not killing people. But if somebody in my world did that, all those people would be dead.
The mayor of Detroit.
I get in movies when you stab a guy in the leg, they're fine.
Yeah.
But that guy would have bled the fuck out.
Yeah.
Like he'd be dead.
There's a lot of important stuff in there.
And then specific part of the leg, and also he's kicking a guy, and it's like, oh, he's kicking him in the chest and hitting the rob with the chest. It's like, yeah, the guy's chest would have been imploded. Like, come on, man, like.
I liked when the mayor on the tape was like, they got footage of all the whole fight, and it was like. They were like, he's like a violent sociopath. I'm like, 100%.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah, the mayor should 100% not have him here.
Here's the thing. He's like, I had to leave because I was becoming too much like my mentor. It's like,
well, I got a tape for you to watch.
Yeah, like, do you need to, are you sure you're not there? What is Batman doing that you were too? Which, by the way, there were reports, the actor Brenton Thwaites, right?
Yeah.
He was like, Batman in this world, he's killing people, and Robin doesn't want that. It's like, I hope he misspoke.
Yeah.
Because I don't need a murderer Batman. You know what I mean? I know we've gotten it with Tim Burton's Batman and Ben Affleck's Batman and stuff like that, but you know what I mean?
No, I agree. I don't want that. And like, if maybe Batman accidentally killed somebody.
Yeah, but even then,
we'll
Batman has enough negative qualities that would make you want to leave. That doesn't need to be one of them.
But again, I did like Brenton Thwaites' acting, and I like his character, and it actually makes me more excited for when Jason Todd shows up, because I fully understand where Dick Grayson's at. Like, I get it. And I like that everyone calls him Grayson. Let's stick with that. Yeah. And I did like the opening with the dream of the Graysons. It's like, why is she getting this dream? It's like, the plot says you gotta do that. And it's like, why is Starfire doing her thing? It's like, because the plot says you gotta.
You also get a vision. I guess it's spoilers. We'll get into spoilers. Let's rate this bad boy.
Yeah, I'd give it out of 10. I'll be honest. Raven stuff kind of started to. It pulls it down a little bit, because if you kind of were to take her out of the episode like a little bit more, have her in it sparingly, I'd give this maybe 7.9, like an 8. I'll give it an 8.
Yeah, I give it a low A. I give it a B minus.
Yeah,
I give it a B minus, which is about an 8. Yeah, it's about an 8 is a B minus, because which actually surprised me. I thought it would be a little bit shakier than it was.
Yeah,
and
it was more confident.
Yeah, it was more confident than I expected, and I am more excited to check out episode 2 than I anticipated being. So I give it a B minus, which considering how much I like these characters, makes me happy.
Nice. No, I totally agree. And before we get into spoilers, because if you're listening spoiler free, watching it, whatever, if you're still on the fence about the DCU app, again, try a free trial.
Yeah.
Wait till give it 3 episodes, and then watch the 3 episodes and see where you're at, because I think the app is worth the pickup if you're a comic book fan, or if you want to see the exclusive merch or the other shows and movies that they're going to have on there. But wait 3 episodes and then pick it up and then watch it through, because I think Young Justice will be worth the purchase.
And when does Young Justice come out?
January.
And what about Harley Quinn?
everything's after January.
Gotcha,
So it's all 2019 releases. So I don't know.
Gotcha.
Also, shout out to Raul Coley, friend of the show, who got the role as Scarecrow.
Good for him, man.
I'm very interested to see what that's
he's
like.
He's a good guy, and he's a very funny guy. And considering that's a comedy series, I think he's going to do really well on that show. And it's also Scarecrow's such a cool character. Good for him.
Yeah, I think he's definitely excited. He's a Batman fan. So, anyways, spoiler time in 3, 2, 1. We have a friend first.
No, well, we have if you're excited about these superhero shows.
Oh, better segue.
Yeah, we've got a show. You know this. I mean, if you've been listening a while, we've got a show, Super TV Showdown, where we talk about all of these shows, including Titans.
Yes, we do.
And it's coming back because just last week we had Black Lightning and Flash, and we talked about that on our OSA show. But we're going to be launching a new show on Twitch. It's new that it's on Twitch, but it's Super TV coming back, and it's going to be on Twitch. We're going to talk about Supergirl, Flash, and Arrow live on Twitch on Thursdays at 4 p.m. PST. But
if you want all the other goodies, we're talking Titans, Black Lightning, Legends, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Gotham, Inhumans. I'm going to bring it up. Gifted. Whoever's watching that one, we'll see. You can go ahead and tune in to patreon.com/onlystupidanswers for the full deal. That's the private stream. That's the VOD afterwards and the audio podcast. Just for $5 a month, you can get all that content. And also, it supports the show, and that's actually how we're able to get this set, make this episode work, make this the almost full-time job for us. That's how it works. So while we are making it available to everybody, and you can watch that in different forms on our Twitch channel, 4 p.m. PST on Thursdays, the Patreon is where it's at for all the other content, and it helps us grow the show and keep it going.
Absolutely.
And also make sure we can have cool guests come on the show as well. So consider checking that out. And if you're new to the podcast, Super TV Showdown is the show that you're going to want to check out. So tune in Thursdays and check it out on Patreon.
Yeah, so for those keeping track, and there's going to be a new calendar of this, our schedule on onlystupidanswers.com. But that means Wednesday at 4 p.m. PST is the Only Stupid Answers show, where we're talking about news and playing games and all that fun stuff. Thursday at 4 p.m. PST on twitch.tv/playnoggin is the free Super TV Showdown. And then immediately after that will be the Patreon exclusive stuff, the shows that we don't talk about on that show. And then Friday is when you can, if you're on patreon.com/onlystupidanswers, you can watch us record our podcast live.
And our comic book review show, don't you forget.
Yeah.
All of the kids' favorite
Oh,
ones.
yes.
They're clawing for it. They're screaming for it. But guys, if you want to talk about the episodes, join our Discord community. There's different little chat windows for each of the shows. We'll talk about them. We'll do live reviews as the shows come out. And we hope we see you guys on Thursdays, 4 p.m. PST and 5 p.m. on our Patreon. We love you guys, and back to the episode. And now we're back in the episode.
Cool. So now spoilers. Can I open with my favorite joke in the episode?
Yes.
So first time there, Brent Thwaites, Dick Grayson is like trailing these guys, and you see him like in his car looking at notes, and you're like, yeah, he's gonna do vigilante shit. Which, by the way, for some reason, this was the show that made me realize that like vigilante shit really isn't that cool. Like it's like
a lot of waiting,
because it's like, how do you? It's like this guy got off, and it's like, how do you know? Not obviously he's a big villain-looking motherfucker, but how do you know he wasn't supposed to get off? Like, you know, maybe the court system was actually whatever. Anyway, let's not poke holes into our vigilante shows. We know because this is a Titan show that this guy definitely is a bad guy. And Robin shows up, lands on a car, and all the gangsters immediately look up for Batman. Like, they don't care about Robin at all. They're immediately like, okay, where's Batman? When's he going to show up? And I just thought it was a really great way of like kind of taking the piss out of that moment, and then having Robin prove himself, and for me, motivating the fuck Batman line. You know what I mean?
I could see where the motivation would come from in writing, in writing or in a comic. There's some stuff in this episode where I'm like, in a comic book, wow, this would be great. And it's like, but on the screen, I'm like, you know, because sometimes stuff doesn't play because it's more. You're supposed to interpret it and not be given it. Like watching the Killing Joke movie, it's like, oh, this is awful. Actually, sorry, I'm putting my opinion out there.
Yeah, that's not a good one.
Yeah, but there are some. I did like the joke as well, and I liked a lot of the possession stuff when it came to Raven's powers, her soul self or whatever that demon is. I like that, and a lot of the ways that like she has whispers in her ear, and it's a lot scarier than it is in the comics.
The scene where that woman's leading her to a car behind the dark alley, and I like that there's kind of some ambiguity of like whether she was bad or not. Although don't follow strangers down an alley.
Also, she said it's right around the corner, and then you said the car.
Yeah, so and then the car's like running, and it's like,
yeah, you were gonna kidnap her.
Yeah, and I liked her getting the cops' attention by throwing the brick or whatever at the cop car. That was cool. But yeah, so the setup with Starfire is she wakes up in a car crash
with somebody.
And she has amnesia herself, which makes it really interesting. To like you're learning about Starfire with Starfire.
She kind of knows what's going. She figures it out as the episode goes on. Also, shout out to Konstantin Kovar, one of Greg Berlanti's favorite Z-listers that he's brought up by Dolph Lundgren in season 5 of Arrow, and now in this episode.
I was honestly a little bummed that they didn't have Dolph Lundgren reprise his role. I know it probably would have cost them too much, and it probably would have confused some people. But hey, this is an alternate reality. He can be around in this one.
Why did you burn him like so quick? Literally, why did you burn him?
Literally burn him. Yeah. That was another great scene where we see Starfire. One, the depiction of Starfire's powers is dope, but also how did the picture survive? She scorches that whole room, and then she picks up the picture, and she's got a little scorch marks around the edges.
Bones are gone, but that picture lasted.
Fine. It's laminated.
It was laminated. Oh, you're right. The humans aren't laminated, so it doesn't work. No, there's her whole stuff is really interesting, and I liked her German, and I'm like, oh, interesting. Yeah. What German sect of Detroit are they in right now? It's like whatever, but like we'll see how she gets there. I hope she flies.
At the end of the episode. I hope so too. At the end of the episode, when Robin's driving. Raven someplace, and they are driving out of the city around woods that look suspiciously like the Austria Road.
Interesting. And I like the tease with Beast Boy. You brought up before we started recording. It's like, why would he sneak in there with one of the biggest animal forms he could possibly pick?
Yeah, it's
maybe to bust down the door.
Or scare the guy, or I don't know.
What was he doing, too?
He's stealing video games, I think. Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And it's like, theoretically, he should be able to come out. There is a trailer. They've been releasing trailers of the characters, and there's one with Beast Boy, like, yeah, Tiger's my favorite. And it's like, okay, this is how they're going to explain why. Like, this is the main one until that maybe they can get a little bit more money.
His transformation scene though is
really
cool.
good,
and I'm
surprisingly
so
good.
And the green looks good, and the green tiger looked pretty good. Overall, the tiger looked pretty good. It did not look bad. It looks better than.
Let's get some of that Grodd CGI over there and just paint it green, and now he's got a gorilla one.
There you go.
Yeah,
I think he looks a little bit better than some of the animals, like the animal spirits we see with Vixen.
Yes.
Which those should be really easy. Those are just wireframes. They've never really rendered those out.
They're semi-transparent and all that stuff. Yeah,
easy. No, but he looks good. But with Raven, the criticism comes back to the actress isn't selling me really, and I think maybe throughout the series you could. But when stuff's happening, I'm like, I'm just not buying it. I don't know what I'm not buying, but I did like her intro where she's seeing the dream sequence with the Graysons dying, and like I said, it's why is this happening? Because plot says so. There's not really any reason. It's like, oh, he'll protect me. It's like, but this is the world with Superman. Like, are you saying that you couldn't go to Superman?
Yeah.
No, but plot says Grayson.
But he lives closer. Also, I liked when
Superman flies.
When Grayson could point. But how's she supposed to get there, huh?
Throw a dead body up in the air, he'll find it.
Yeah. When Grayson holds her hand and you get flashes of his childhood, which makes Batman look like a real creeper. Like, ooh, I'll help you,
and turns you into a child soldier.
Yeah, and the fight itself was like the one. I don't know about you. The one that got me is when he takes the guy, he breaks the window, he takes the guy's head in the window frame, and then runs it along. I'm like, that's too much.
Oh, 100%.
That's too much.
Unless I think he's a pedophile, maybe. And then you're like,
or he's at least beating his daughter or something.
Yeah. And there was one move where I was like, oh, we'll just kind of suspend disbelief for a second, where he rubbed somebody against smooth bricks and it charred up their face, and I was like, all right, shut up, Sam. Like, don't be that nerd who was like, this doesn't make any sense. Yeah. But I got to point out again when he brought out the tiny little Tide pen, and then it turned into a giant baton, like a giant staff. It's like, pull out the staff.
Yeah,
I get it. Don't fight with make the baton
People
the same.
Fight with
length.
the scrimmage sticks.
Is it that short?
Yeah.
What? But it made it look
usually
like
get two though. Usually get two.
Get
two. The one. Yeah.
Also, just make it length of like Daredevil's baton.
Yeah.
It makes it's more intimidating because it looks like a club.
Yeah.
That one's real tiny.
It was surprisingly tiny. Well, especially since I thought, like, is that it? And then it's like, oh, there's the full staff.
There it is. And the full staff's a lot cooler than the.
Yeah.
It's like Queecree. It's cooler than the Tide pen. That was silly. But no, Starfire is definitely the most intriguing part of this. It's like, why is she looking for Raven? Why are all these people
Everybody's looking for Raven? I also.
What you want to talk about? There was a twist on her.
Yeah.
Origin.
So at the end, there's a guy that kidnaps her, and I thought it was somebody. The assumption is from the comics, Raven is the half daughter of Trigon, which is one of the many devils in comics. And so the assumption is that that's going to be kind of like what we're building toward, big bad type stuff.
Which is, hey, great starting point, because it is the big one.
Yeah. And I assumed that the guy kidnapping her was a part of that, but it turns out it's somebody that doesn't want that. Is trying to prevent Trigon. So it's like, oh, actually, he's messed up, and it's really, he shows multiple hearts that he's taking out of multiple things. So he's not a good dude, but it's like, it's interesting that his motivation was different than I expected.
Yeah, and I enjoyed that too. And then you see her doing her possession thing, which when she murdered him, that was intense. Yeah. And her like soul self like sliding out of her body is interesting. I like that it looks like her instead of a bird. I think we'll get the bird stuff. This show will get the bird stuff. Yeah. So stupid that we're saying that.
The bird stuff. I also it's interesting they hinted at Starfire being like apparently she's had people sent up to her room probably for sexy time. She's been with Kovar, and so I kind of hope what they're building towards. To traditionally in the comics, Starfire is a very sex positive character. She was made in the 70s, where that was like thing people were doing, you know what I mean, like really trying to emphasize. And so I hope it's more that as opposed to like 13-year-old boy. I guess she's always been that too. 13-year-old boy fantasy that we got in like the original New 52, Red Hood and the Outlaws. I hope it's a little more nuanced than that, and that's the impression I get, at least, which makes me feel good about it.
And David Rodriguez in the chat's asking, are we okay with Starfire killing, Raven killing, and Beast Boy stealing?
Yes.
Well, they got to start somewhere.
Yeah, actually,
these are misfits, guys.
Weirdly, the only one I don't want killing is Robin. Oh. Everybody else, it's like, well, Raven's
dangerously close.
Yeah, Raven's possessed by a demon. That's happened. Starfire does. I mean, doesn't know any better. Yeah, so I'm fine with it. You know what I mean? Like, but Robin, Dick Grayson, there is no iteration of Dick Grayson that is known for being a murderer. So yeah, so I don't necessarily need that. So I'm hoping, again, I hope that's part of them finding their rhythm. You know what I mean? Part of them finding, what the tone of the show is going to be. But and in some ways, even though it's not necessarily what I want, like the hardcore DC fanboys like the harder R stuff. That's the reason why they keep putting out their R-rated animated movies and stuff like that. So this is what the fans want. You know what I mean?
And even maybe I'm speaking for us a little bit, but it's like sometimes that's okay if you don't do that. But
it's same. Yeah. I agree with you. But again, maybe that's an us thing. I don't know.
No, and it's not like I'm like squeamish. I just think it's cheap, and it's like midnight like slasher movies. It's like they're not bad, but when it's all of that, you just like. It makes it seem like you can't tell the story without it.
Based on the clips we've seen and what this episode gave us, I feel like we're going to not necessarily lose those aspects, but like evolve past them. Like the interaction between Dick Grayson and Jason Todd was a lot more fun and light than I anticipated.
Yeah.
So I feel like as the show finds itself, especially since we're getting shows like Doom Patrol, which can be as fucked up as it wants to be, the pressure will be off Titans of being that.
And I did want to point out that like for a second, you're like, maybe they'll lead off, like kind of pull off their foot off the pedal a little bit. Hawk and Dove, I remember in the trailer, were like slashing people's throats and stuff. So that's
we'll see. Yeah, that's next week, right? That's the next. Yeah, okay.
And I in the Titans Hunt comic. In the Titans comic, when they bring them back to like New 52 and whatever that was, they had a story where the Titans were kind of pairing off, and that's how they were coming together in like groups, which is they've done that story before in other things. The Avengers Infinity War, the same thing, where they pair off and then they come together at the end. I think it'd be kind of cool to see Hawk and Dove like team up with like Beast Boy, and that's how they kind of like come together slowly.
Well, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, that's a way
really cool
because
they clearly are kind of taking their time, like getting people into the same room with each other, and we're getting a lot of characters. I think we're definitely getting Donna Troy, Wonder Girl. Are we getting Superboy?
I forget if we're getting this season. I think maybe if anything like season 2 is definitely.
Yeah, I feel we're going to be getting a lot of characters. So I don't know about you. I have a real sense of unpredictability with this show. I kind of don't know what we're going to be getting, and to a degree that excites me.
This could be really cool. And so far
it could pull a Gotham, because I remember feeling pretty okay about the premiere of Gotham, and then it fell off the rails for me real quick.
So this doesn't feel like Gotham to me, because the first episode of Gotham for me was like, don't care. Like you hit every box I don't want for a TV show. So I'm willing to stick with it for a couple more episodes. Or actually. No, yeah, I'll stick with it for I'll go to episode 6, because I don't hate any of this. I think Raven's just a weak link. Right now, but episode 1, like Cloak and Dagger, I ended up really liking that show. But Cloak Tyrone, his acting in the first episode, and the first 2 episodes were like,
you weren't really feeling it.
No, but eventually, like by episode 3, I was like, oh, I get what you're doing.
Yeah.
I like the different points of view these characters are bringing to this show, and I like everyone's point of view for this show. It also kind of feels like Starfire's like an antagonist right now, wherever she's at, because she straight up murdered that guy like it was nothing. I mean, it was self-defense, but it was like...
But he's a bad guy from the comics.
And then he, like...
Oh, by the way, that bullet scene was way cooler than the bullet scene at the end of Iron Fist. I'd just like to point that out.
Which was the bullet scene at the end of... that bullet scene.
Yeah, and when he goes to shoot her, and then the bullet starts incinerating, and she incinerates those people. Like, they are
And
ash.
she doesn't care.
Oh, Danny Boy points out that I'm curious how Swamp Thing's going to be. See, that's another show that in fact, should be more dark horror movie stuff like that. So maybe Titans can kind of fit into that PG-13 aspect, while Doom Patrol and Swamp Thing get to be more adult oriented.
Yeah, Robot Man. That show.
You know what? Now I'm starting to look forward to it even more. Like with this show doing what it is, I'm excited. If for nothing else, I do have trouble believing that this app is going to do well enough to last, just because I gotta imagine it's got to be so expensive to be making all these shows, and there's so much competition. But the experimentalness of it, interests me.
And you know what I like is that I think they're seeing the CW, and they're seeing the crossovers, and they're saying that's one of the biggest things that people watch on TV. Period.
Yeah.
But on the DC app would make people get it.
Yeah.
We're like, Doom Patrol and Titans is crossing over, and you're gonna see Superman in this, and it's like, oh yeah, then we're watching. Yeah. 100%. And Swamp Thing. Why not?
Could you see a live action Milk Wars?
Oh my sweet Christ! No, I don't want that. Not that I don't want that, but I don't want that.
I'm not saying I don't want it, but please God, don't do it.
Don't do
it.
Don't. You know, like I said,
you know what? I'll want it for. I want it enough for both of us.
But you know that.
Yeah, Tyler Hoechlin is Milkman Man.
Oh my God, that's so weird. Yeah. Oh my God. And Batman is a weird priest, whatever. But if you guys want Milk Wars, or if you don't know what it is,
Swamp Thing's there. That was the best part of that crossover, was the Swamp Thing Cave Carson crossover.
You didn't like Wonder Woman breastfeeding a vacuum cleaner?
You had a problem with that?
Oh, sorry.
Interesting.
Too PC for you? That makes no sense. Anyways, as a pilot I thought it was strong. With it had its weak moments, but I don't really know a pilot out there that doesn't have its weak moments.
Yes, agreed.
Besides like Breaking Bad, that one's pretty good.
The Shield had one of the best pilots I've ever seen in the world. But
is an episode.
Is something.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Yeah.
No, but I will be sticking with it.
Yeah, same. I will too. I was pleasantly surprised. I hope it's able to continue to get even better. And again, I really, ever since the original cartoon, I really like these characters, and so I'm hoping they get a nice, I hope this is the series they deserve.
Yeah, same. This would be a really cool way of bringing these characters to live action and doing them justice. And so far, 3/4 of those characters I'm very happy with. And I mean that really not as a dig. That's just truth. I'm like, 3/4 I'm very happy with. Let's see if Raven can... Yeah. I don't even know if it's totally the actress. It's just like, let's see if that
part
character
of it, she gets saddled with like the dumb high school stuff. Like none of these characters are really high schoolers. The other thing, speaking of dumb high school stuff, again, the cop stuff. Like they introduced Dick Grayson's partner, and it's just this wafer thin blonde girl that, I mean, I don't know. Dick Grayson looks pretty thin too. They just look like they could blow away in a strong wind. And I just don't buy them as cops personally.
Hey, maybe they're more detectives. Yeah.
Also, how long?
Oh, don't ask that question, because
you have to be a cop for a while to become a detective. By the way,
there's a lot of schooling you have to go to, which you can't just buy your. I mean, I guess maybe.
Yeah, you probably can. You got Batman money, you probably can.
You probably can.
Yeah.
A lot of questions.
But we like it. We're checking it out. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you're going to be checking out, or what you thought of the first episode. We've been watching the chat. It looks like the feeling is pretty similar to ours.
Yeah, but you guys can let us know in the Discord, which you can join by going to patreon.com/onlystupidanswers. Yeah. But also, most importantly, tune in next week, Thursday, 4 p.m. PST for Super TV Showdown. We'll be talking about, we'll touch on Titans a little bit, just because this is a full breakdown, but we'll share ideas. Roxy will as well. She'll be joining us, and we'll be talking about Flash, Supergirl, Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, Black Lightning, and any other show that's airing right now. But to get all that, make sure you're a part of our Patreon community to get the full in-depth breakdown. It's going to be a blast. We hope you guys can join us. And also Wednesday, you can get our OSA Twitch show where we talk about all the news, and we get game a little bit. There's a lot of good stuff that we got for you guys. Let us know what you think about it on Twitter at Only Stupid Answers.
You got the vowels from stupid, but it's also worth mentioning that with all this stuff going on, we have decided that Hard to Say Goodbye is going to go on hiatus.
Yes, for the time being. So we'll put out all the episodes that we've recorded for season 2 on our Patreon for Hard to Say Goodbye. So if you're part of that, don't worry, you'll be getting what you're getting. If you're part of the Bridge tier on OSA, you'll be getting those as well. Yes. So don't worry.
And we're going to do some cool things with that Bridge tier as well. There's going to be new stuff coming out for that, which is going to be really cool.
Yeah, don't worry. We've been working with a very cool company that's, well, I don't want to say too much else because with PatreonCon coming out soon, it's the Patreon convention for the cool kids. There's a lot of fun announcements that are going to be coming out very soon. So don't worry. Hopefully you guys can stick with us. And thank you for sticking with us for that show. It's getting a little too crazy on our end, and we're going to put on hiatus for now. But hey, who knows? But we appreciate you guys supporting us through all the shows that we make, and you guys are the best. You guys are the best of the best.
Sure are, no doubt.
DJ, final thoughts?
Thank you all for joining us. See you next week. Check out our live shows. We've got some exciting things coming down the pipe, and we're glad to have you along for the ride.
My name is Sam. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks, David and Danny, for joining us.